Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict. Merry Christmas, all that jazz. Happy New Year, because I probably won't be live New Year because I'll probably be having a beverage on the sofa and getting yelled at by my wife. But yes, we have Ronny Dawson in the house tonight. I interviewed, I think it was about a year ago or something like that, maybe longer than a year ago. He was one of the first people I interviewed on the channel. And I get the luxury of getting him back on the show. Now, for anybody who doesn't know who Ronny Dawson is, he is the man who, he had a home invasion of aliens. And it was Ronny and his cat. And without further ado, Ronny, welcome to Alien Addict, my friend.
Hey, it's good to be back. I enjoy being here.
How long has it been?
Man, you know, it's hard to say. I've done so many shows, man, that I know it's been a while. It's been, I think, about a year or more.
Right.
I know, yeah, 2020. I haven't done much in 2020, so yeah, it's probably like over a year.
We were speaking about your giant ball, the sphere.
Yeah, that was what we mostly talked about last time. We didn't really get into my UFO and alien experience.
Yeah, do you still see your mate with the big sphere?
Yes, I've been trying to get him to go public with it and to bring it out in public and let everybody look at it and handle it. But he's scared to death of bringing it out into public, and he's keeping it behind locked gates. And I almost think he wishes he wouldn't have talked to me about it, because I've made it public now, and there's so many people have interest in it that it's not quite the secret it used to be, and I think he misses that.
Yeah, you sent an email to the Stars Academy, TTSA, about this sphere, and they replied back with that it was an earthquake ball bearing. Is that right?
Yeah, it was. They think, and sadly, you think that if you're researching alien metal material and somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I have an alien sphere that's made out of solid metal and it weighs 55 pounds, and it supposedly fell off a spaceship that was hovering over a rural ranch house, and there was I think 11 or 12 of them in all, and we actually still have one. Would you be interested in taking a look at it?" And they tell you, we think it's maybe an earthquake bearing, but we don't know for sure. I'm like, what? Are you really researching alien metal material, or is that just an excuse? Because if I was in TTSA, I'd have jumped all over it, I see it. I see what you got, but no, they didn't show that kind of interest.
So you sent them the videos of this sphere,
right? Yeah,
moving,
and basically they said they think it's an earthquake bearing. It's like a substrate bearing that they put under buildings in earthquake areas like California. But we know for a fact that, and I know people who are familiar with those things, and this thing is not heavy enough to be solid. And being how those things support a whole building, they would definitely be solid, not hollow like this is in the center. So it's disappointing. We're still looking. I'm still hoping to get I'm hoping to get a mobile lab and bring out there at some point so we can X-ray it and see what exactly is in it. But yeah, it does have some weird characteristics, and some of the cuttings on it are as old as it is. We wouldn't have had the plasma cutting technology, considering the age of it, to make those kind of cuts. So there's still a lot of mystery around that sphere, and hopefully one day we'll get to the bottom of it.
So what's been going on since our last interview? But before you tell us what's been going on, if you could just give the guys that haven't already seen the interview with you just an idea of what happened, starting from the invasion.
Okay, yeah, I'll just give a brief rundown of where we kind of left off at. Is I'm a Texas oilfield worker, and I work out in the middle of nowhere all hours of the days and night, and I did this for like 25 years and never saw anything. And about 2009, we started seeing some weird stuff that I couldn't explain. And I mean, I was a guy that seen everything and could explain everything and wasn't worried about aliens, didn't really believe in aliens or UFOs. But then I started seeing some stuff that I couldn't explain. And finally, the fact that it is probably an alien craft from somewhere else is the only explanation that I could come up with.
Is this that
And
thing? Is this the picture that you sent me?
that is I think the one that you're referring to is the mothership. You want to pop it up there? We'll look at it right quick. Yeah,
this.
That what you're looking at there is that is the left hand side of it's a mile long mothership UFO craft that passed right over the top of my head. It was made out of solid rock on the bottom. You could see burn marks. You could see crater marks. The thing went right over the top of my head. Maybe
it was made out of what? Rock at the bottom.
Solid rock. It looked like, I first thought it was I thought it was a meteor coming in, and like I said, this thing was 100 yards on both sides of me, and I thought, man, I'm fixing to get taken out by a meteor. And then the thing slowed down. It tilted up, and then it shot off at the speed of a jet. And then
how do you know it was made out of rock?
Because I was looking straight up, and I could see the bottom of it. It looked just like you could see craters, and you could see burn marks, and you could see where it had impacted like meteors and stuff. And it looked just like the surface of the moon. So
this was like but did it have? Was it just like a floating rock, or was it? Did it have like parts to it? Could you see intelligent structure to it?
I never saw any intelligent structure until all of a sudden I seen what looked like a pipe opening that was coming out of the bottom of it. And when I saw that, I realized that, that you're not going to see a meteor with like a pipe sticking out of the bottom of it. And so that was the first thing that I saw that indicated that it wasn't just a meteor. You have to realize this thing was slowly passing over my head, and it was it was maybe less than 500 feet up. So even in the dark, I could look up and I could see the bottom of it. And it took 2 or 3 seconds.
Sorry,
to pass over.
For somebody who has no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to this type of stuff, what is this, Danny? Is this space? Is this the star?
Okay, the bottom of this thing right here is I was talking to a astrological professor, Antonio Paris. I guess he's an astrologist in the University of Pittsburgh. I think St. Petersburg, in Florida. And he asked me to try to find a star pattern in the footage. He said it'd be easier to believe if I could isolate, locate a star pattern around the vehicle, since I didn't catch any trees or anything like that in it, so he could determine how big this thing actually was. And what you're looking at on the bottom there, I took the sky map, I took the area that I was in, the time that I was in, and I reduced the visual clarity to the level that it would have been that night. And I look in the direction that I was facing that night. And what you're looking at is a sky map there. And the picture above it is the actual picture I took with my phone. And you can see that the stars line up. And when Antonio Paris seen that, he said, "My God, that thing was big." I said, "Yes." I said, "It's a V-shaped 1 mile craft. Each half of the V is a half mile long." I said, "This thing is huge." I said, "It was like 100 yards on both sides of me when it was passing over." I said, it blocked out all the stars in the sky. And if this thing would have crashed to the ground, it would have killed me and everything around me. And in fact, you'd probably need a golf cart just to ride around the thing. It's so big.
The most frustrating thing with like images like these is that the UFO never holds still for people to take a really good, picture. You never nobody ever seems to get that beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this, can you explain, is this the same image?
That's the same image, and I zoomed in, and I tried to get the visual clarity on it to where you could actually see. I'm taking you right here. I'm taking you aboard the craft surface, so you can see this thing is like a big old V-shaped craft. And when I zoomed in on it, you can see that even though it's got structures and stuff on the top of it, and there's a big hole in it, just the structural integrity of the thing using any kind of our design would be so weak it would just break up whenever you had any kind of G-force on it. But this thing actually had like a tunnel in the middle of it where crafts could come in, and even in fact one of those craft I believe is a dock UFO on it.
So just to break this down, so how long were you looking at this thing before you thought, I'm getting my phone out, I'm going to take a picture of this?
Oh, I was getting some picture of some UFOs prior to this, and my memory was getting full. And then all of a sudden I seen it looked like a star cluster coming down. And the more I watched it, it was getting lower and lower. And when it started coming close to me, I could see steam rolling off of it. It was like the cold of the surface of the thing was creating a heck of a steam cloud that was rolling off of it. And finally, this thing came rolling out of the cloud.
Did you say it was 2009?
It was 2011 when I actually took this picture.
Okay,
It was 1 year after the alien invasion. Exactly 1 year after the alien invasion, they came back and scared the living hell out of me.
So what phone was this taken with?
It was taken with the Motorola Tundra. Is a flip phone, a military grade flip phone at the time that had some of the first video capability of any of the phones that we had out. I spent a little extra money to get a phone that could take a video, and I actually got the video of this thing. And as the years progressed, we got of the 15 seconds of video footage, I got 22 still frames. And we found some of those sweet spots where the camera's eye and the lighting was where they needed to be to kind of get a halfway clear picture of what we were looking at. And I know it's for a fact it's a giant UFO. There's no doubt in my mind. And basically what you're seeing here is what's on the surface of it. I can't explain what it is, but I mean it. Okay, you have to think this picture is a mile away. At a mile away, a camera's field of view is about a quarter mile, and you can see here that. Even from a mile away, my camera couldn't get the whole craft in the picture. That's how big this thing was.
So is this zoomed in?
That's not zoomed in there. That's the actual picture without it being zoomed in from a mile away. And it's wider than the camera's field of view, which is a quarter mile. So you can see that we're looking at over a quarter mile of craft right there.
Did it make a noise?
Nothing. You could see the steam rolling off of it. And when it changed directions, you could see the steam that was trapped on the buildings and stuff on the surface being swept over the sides like water over a waterfall. This was an amazing sight. I wish everybody in the world could have seen this thing come in. It was breathtaking. It was absolutely horrifying at first because it was right over the top of my head, and I thought I was fixing to die. But after it slowed down, it tilted up and shot away, and then it banked back at me. And when it banked back at me, I could see what was on the surface of it because to that point, I had just seen what was on the bottom of it. And on the top of it, there was I could see fluorescent blue power lines stretching across the surface. I could see a big tower with a light on it. I could see a row of burning flares. And I could see these, I don't know, it looks like an array of glowing spears that are lit up. There's several different light sources on this thing. And that first white that you see coming off that picture right there is actually, there's a row of flares that are burning and it's causing a smoke. That is the smoke that's coming off the row of burning flares.
What, that green stuff?
No, there was a faint green underneath it. And that, I couldn't really explain what was causing that unless it was the light on the fog that as it was passing off of it. I don't know. There was a light green glow around the bottom of it at one point, but this thing took off so fast it scared me to death that I wasn't going to get a picture of it. I mean, this is the picture of a lifetime that everybody in the world's been waiting on, and I knew I was the guy to get it. And I just seen this thing, and I was looking at the display screen, but I didn't have anything that would. I mean, all you could see was a darkness. I mean, there was nothing to get a good picture of to make people believe of what I saw. But when this thing took off so fast and I started the camera for fear that I wouldn't catch anything, and then to my luck, it stopped and banked and came back at me. And part of my video actually got the surface of it. And the surface of that thing is amazing. It is odd. I mean, this thing ain't never been touched by human hand. I mean, I talked to MUFON and MUFON tried to convince me it was our secret military. And I'm like, there's no way we make a rock that size fly through the air like a jet and with a city floating was a city built on the top of it. If we had that kind of technology, we'd have floating bases and stuff like that. It's no way it's ours.
So take us back to this then, Ronnie. Who is this beautiful creature?
That is my cat Striper, and he was part of that. He was part of the alien home invasion. That night, he played a role in it because
this is a year prior to you seeing the giant rock with.
That was actually a year after. That was a year after the home invasion. Was when they came back exactly 1 year to the day after they invaded my home.
And before anybody asks as well, Ronnie, you do not drink.
No, I don't.
Yeah, because I asked you to join me in a beer, and you said
I was at work driving a hazardous material crude oil transport truck, and you're certainly not going to do that under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
So,
I was a guy at work in the oil field when that happened, and this alien home invasion, that was a weird series event. The night prior to that,
Ronnie, we've got
yeah.
plenty of time. We've got about an hour and a half or so.
Okay.
Take us to the start of the event.
Okay. Like I said, I'd been seeing some lights, and then I started seeing some craft. And I'd been making some reports to MUFON, but they were very edited reports because I had some friends that were telling me, man, you do not want to. They don't trust MUFON, and they were telling me, don't be telling MUFON too much, man. Just make your report saying about the lights or whatever. And that's the way these guys, So I kind of made some very edited down reports on MUFON just so that I could keep track of the dates and times and stuff like that, and hoping that somebody else had seen something too in the area that I could personally talk to. But MUFON doesn't share that kind of information with you anyway. But anyway, it was interesting enough that eventually I talked to Teresa Turner, and she met me out there. She's the head of Texas MUFON, and I actually met with her at the big sighting location. But where we're at right now is I was seeing these craft and stuff, and I was wanting to get some pictures, and I'd been encouraged by MUFON to try to get some pictures, and I was determined to get some pictures. People can hear your story, but they're not going to believe you if you ain't got some pictures or proof of what's going on. And so I was determined to get some pictures, and I was carrying cameras with me. I was carrying phones with me, and I got the best phone I could possibly afford at the time. And every time I'd see a craft, and I think I was going to get a picture of it. As soon as I'd raise my phone at the thing, it would blink out. And that told me that I'm watching them, but they're watching me back. So I knew it was going to be a task trying to get some footage of these things. But I was determined. And then it came up. I had the idea after I started seeing craft, I said, just getting a picture of lights in the darkness, you're going to set them skeptics off. They're going to say, man, it could be a street light. It could be anything. And I wanted to prove that I'm seeing real UFOs. So I came up with this plan. I got one of these green laser pointers. It's about, I don't know, it's supposed to be a 250 milliwatt laser. It's like a classroom laser pointer, except it's a whole lot more stronger than you'd probably want to use in a classroom. And this thing it'll shoot a green beam visible in the dark 5 miles. So I had this laser, and the purpose of getting this laser was if I saw the craft, I wanted to shine this laser around the craft. And if that UFO craft has been in time and space, my thinking was that just like if you shine that laser across a black hole, it's going to appear to bend because the fabric of space is bent because of the black hole. And so I'm thinking, well, if this craft is actually bending the fabric of space itself, then when I shoot a laser around this thing, it should appear to bend or warp or something like that. And then if I could catch that on video, I would really have some proof there. I'd have some undeniable proof that the people would have a hard time trying to debunk, or skeptics would have to face the fact that UFOs are visiting us. Or that was my thinking at the time. So I had a buddy here in town. He's my best friend, Alan Osterseal. And he has a house on the edge of town, up on a hill, out in the dark. And so he said, yeah, I don't think he really believed. He hadn't seen a UFO. He didn't really believe me. And he said, but yeah, come on up, man. We'll go in my backyard. And I said, I'll sit out here and drink a beer with you, and we'll see if we see anything. So he didn't know what he was getting into, because we went up there, and I had my laser, and we had a camera sitting. I said, I'm going to shoot the laser out. You're in charge of the camera. I said, I want you videotaping me shooting this laser around this UFO. All right. I'm going to see if this laser bends. We'll have the footage. And that was the plan, So we were up there, and we were seeing these military jets flying around. And then I was thinking, man, we ain't going to see anything with those jets around. And well, the jets left, and it was probably 10 or 15 minutes later. And he's actually the one that spotted it first. It was probably 300 or 400 yards away, and a big old 4-light craft just lit up. Boom, boom, boom. This was a third craft that I had seen in 7 days. Now, I don't know if they were following me, if they had tagged me. I found out later they're watching me in there, and they probably are following me around out there, because I was seeing too many craft just to be coincidence, or there's a heck of a lot of them out there. But anyway, they seemed like no matter where I was at, they would show up. And sure enough, that night he said, man, look. He said, what is that? There was 4 big old lights. They probably stretched. There's 4 lights within probably 100 yards of craft. It was a big craft. It was 4 lights on that thing, and it was probably 400 yards away. And he said, what is that? And I looked and I said, that's it, Al. That's what I've been seeing, man. I got got that green laser and I shined that light around this thing, made a circle around it. I didn't see any deviation. I didn't see any bending. It was disappointing. And I told Alan, I said, all right, man. I said, I'm fixing to shine this damn thing on the craft and see if it reflects off of it or if it absorbs it or what it does. And it was pretty scary because I thought, if these guys interpret this wrong, they could find us 2 piles of ash laying up there on that hill outside Ranger, Texas. It was scary as hell. And I was scared when I pointed that light on that craft. I thought, man, they may shoot their laser back, and we wish we hadn't done this. But I shined that light on that craft, and it just sucked it up. I mean, it made no reflection. Like if you shine it on the side of a car or anything, it just completely absorbed the light. And I shined it on that thing, and luckily they didn't shoot nothing back at us, and it just completely absorbed the fucking laser. And I told Alan, I said, I hope you're recording this. And I looked over at him. The camera's like 3 feet from him. He's standing there with his hands on his hips, and he's just gawking at the craft. He's going, my God, man, what do you think that is? I'm going, Alan, man, you're supposed to be recording all this. Just the camera. And he's rushing for the camera, and I'm rushing for the camera, try to get some of it on video. And by the time we get the camera up, this thing just blinks out like they always do. Like it just completely blinked out. Disappointing.
Don't you just hate it when that happens?
It just frustrated. I didn't get the laser. I didn't get no deviation in the laser. I didn't get no footage. Big old 4-light UFO comes up there within about 300 or 400 yards of you, and you don't even get a picture of it, and you're sitting there with the camera UFO watching. This is pretty frustrating. But Alan had never seen a UFO, man. It completely floored him. It baffled him. He just sitting there just gawking at it. And the camera never even crossed his mind. He was just like amazed, completely amazed. He thought I was completely full of crap. And now he come to the reality that, my God, that he ain't kidding, is he? There's something up there. And it showed up. It gave us the firsthand view of it. And Alan witnessed it with me, and we failed to get a picture of it. So I was frustrated. And I was frustrated I didn't get the bending laser, didn't get the footage. So I went home, thinking, man, I still got to get a picture of these things. But the next night I found out this. I didn't know this laser, and I understand I came home from work, and I have this cat. The cat that we've seen in the pictures, his name is Striper. He's a tabby Mancoon cat, and he's my only pet. And he's here, and I come in the house, and he's missing. Right, so I'm like, usually he's running around there, but he ain't nowhere around. I'm like, where is he? And I know he ain't outside because he's a house cat. He'll never go outside. He's declawed. And, I wouldn't want him to go outside, and he never gets to go outside. But anyway, I go in the house. He's missing. He's nowhere around. Well, I go into like the third bathroom in my house. That's I hardly ever use. We hardly ever use it. And I think I put his litter box in there. And I go up in there, and there's a big hole in the floor. And it's a hole in the floor big enough for a cat that size to crawl out of. And I'm like, how in the heck did that hole get in the floor? Did he chew a hole in it? Did he claw a hole through the floor, chew a hole through the floor? I mean, that's
like wooden flooring.
It's a wooden floor. And I'm like, and it's tore all to hell. You can see, I mean, it is tore up. And I'm thinking, my God. And I started calling him, and I could hear him meowing underneath the house. So I knew he was underneath the house, and I tried to call him and try to get him to come to the hole. And the hole was actually big enough I could reach my arm off down in it. And I've got a pretty good size arm. And I reached my arm off in there trying to grab him. And I couldn't. I was feeling around underneath that house, trying to see if I could feel him and grab him. And I pulled my arm back out, and I looked up in there, and there's these 2 eyes looking up at me. And I can't be for sure that they were cat eyes. I don't know what kind of eye, but it scared the hell out of me. I was like, my God, something's looking up at me through that hole, and I don't know for a fact it's a cat. And I thought, man, that's stupid to stick your arm off in there like that. So I went around there's an access panel up underneath the house, and you go up underneath this house to level it. You go up underneath in this area to repair plumbing and gas lines and stuff like that. and it's a very small crawl space. It's not even enough to crawl on your hands and knees. You really have to get on your belly and elbows and kind of move around up underneath there. It's not a I have to go up under there from time to time, but it's not a place you want to just be hanging out. And so I took the rocks away from the board that holds it up against there, and I could see that it had been pried out a little bit, like something had. I thought maybe the cat got out, but as I pulled the rocks away and pulled the board on loose and started calling the cat, here he come. He come right out of the hole. He was ready to get the heck out of there. So I grabbed him. I put the boards back up, and I went up in there and said, I got this big old hole in the floor. So I had some like 30 or 10 that I had recently put on the roof of my house, and I went out there and I got my drill and I screwed it over the hole in the floor so the cat couldn't get back out again. And I'm thinking maybe the cat had done this. I don't know how he did it, but somehow he's the only excuse I could think of for that hole to be there. So I patched the hole where he couldn't get back out. And I was kind of frustrated, I said, man, that cat's really pissing me off. I come home from work and I have to go through all this. So I patched the hole with this metal. I screw these screws into the wood to hold it down so the cat can't get out. And I put 4 of them in there, and it's good and tight. And anyway, so it's later on at night. It's time to go to bed, So I'm sitting there, and I go in my bedroom and I lay down. Right. And the way that I sleep is kind of odd because I was bacheloring at the time, and the ceiling fan's right over the top of the bed. So I actually sleep backwards in the bed. I sleep where most people would put their feet because the bathroom light's behind me. And I didn't like that. I leave the bathroom light on, and I leave the light in the kitchen so I could get up, get a drink. I can get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom, and I don't have to be blinded by the light if I sleep with my head at the foot of the bed and the ceiling fan's right over me. And the air conditioning in the living room blows through the doorway. It's perfect. So I was sleeping backwards in this bed. And I no sooner lay down in that bed, then all of a sudden I hear dishes getting knocked over in the kitchen. And I'm going, man, this cat is really pissing me off. At first he claws a hole on my floor. Now he's in there causing a ruckus in the kitchen. And so I try to get up to go see what the hell's going on. And I realized my shoulders are pinned to the bed. And I had just laid down. I didn't even have time to even think about going to sleep. I had just hit the bed. And I tried to get up, and all of a sudden, man, I'm pinned in this thing. I cannot move a muscle, man. It was like I could move my head just a little bit. I could even tilt side to side a little bit, but it was like from the neck down, I'm completely paralyzed. Well, I'm kind of freaked out because I'm thinking, my God, did I just something break, or I'm having a heart attack? What's going on, man? I'm thinking clear, but I can't move my arms. I can't move my legs. I can't move anything. And I look, my head looks over, and then all of a sudden I hear shit breaking in the kitchen again. Dishes getting knocked over, cabinets opening. And I'm thinking, man, there's somebody in this house. And I'm trapped in this daggone bed. And I look over, and I can see my cat standing in the doorway, and he's looking back towards the kitchen like he's really concerned, and I'm still hearing noises coming from the kitchen. So now I realize it's not just me and the cat in the house, it's me and the cat and something else in the house. So this daggum cat, I'm thinking, what the heck, okay, from time to time, man, I've got these drop down ceilings in this place, and I've had squirrels, like they get into the attic, they fall through the drop down ceiling. So I'm thinking maybe I got some squirrels in there. I've actually caught them with a trout net and a leather welding gloves. I've caught these squirrels before and thrown, I've hauled them out in the country and let them go,
Squirrels that have pinned you to the bed?
No, yeah, I know. It's not the squirrels that pin me to the bed, but I have had creatures that have fell through my ceiling that I've had to catch. So I've got all this going on at once. You have to realize you got 3 different things going on. You got some kind of medical emergency because you can't move. You got something in your kitchen raising hell. You got a very concerned cat in the doorway looking towards the kitchen like something's in there that he's scared of.
So at the time you thought there's something wrong with your body, you thought this is medical.
Yeah, I'm thinking heart attack. I'm thinking stroke. Something's going on. But at the same time, I can hear all this other stuff going on. I'm hearing drawers open now. Squirrels don't open drawers. Squirrels may knock over some dishes and stuff, but they're not going to be opening drawers and cabinets. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, man, I don't know what's going on in there, but there's something serious going on in the kitchen. The cat, when he runs in the door, he jumps up on the bed with me. I'm laying there paralyzed. This cat walking around like there ain't nothing wrong with him. And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, what the hell? And I still can't move. And every time I fight it, I put force to get up. It almost like it starts hurting. The more force you put, the more force you use to try to get up, the more force they use to keep you in place. It's only way I can explain it. Well, the cat jumps up in the bed. I see him right next to me. I'm still paralyzed in this damn bed. And then all of a sudden I see something streak by the door. I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping that maybe I got some kind of medical emergency and there's a squirrel in the house. Maybe a raccoon. Who knows? I don't know what I'm going to do. But all I know is there's a lot going on right now. And this thing streaks by the door so fast that I can't even, it's like so fast that you can't see nothing but a blur go by. And it's just a brown streak went by that door. It was moving so fast. And I was like, man, I don't know what that thing is, but it's hauling, it's getting it. And then it goes back by the other direction. And then I see a second one. And then I'm thinking, okay, all right, And then I seen one of them. It ran up and it ran across a vertical wall sideways, like it was defying gravity, man. And I was like, okay, all right. So I'm starting to put two and two together now and realize that this is not squirrels, this is not raccoons. Has more to do with what went on last night. I done pissed somebody off, and now I'm getting paid a little visit. And this thing run across the wall. There's two of them in there. I hear them knocking over stuff. I hear them opening cabinets. They knocked a lamp over by the computer desk.
How big?
And it broke.
How big? When you say they're running across the wall,
these things, you could tell that they weren't big. They weren't nowhere near 3 feet. These things were like, I'd say closer to 2 feet or less tall. And they actually were lower, like it was lower than 2 feet, and it was moving like lightning.
What's it like?
And when it run across a vertical, it's about like that. And this thing was just jetting around there, and every now and then it'd stop and open drawers and cabinets, and then it would, and I'm still pinned to the bed, and I can't do a damn thing. I'm just trapped in this damn bed, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this has got to be ET paying me a visit for what we did last night. And when I seen this thing run straight up, it's run straight up the wall. It pushed off the ceiling and came straight back down. And I mean, like lightning fast. It did all that in just a heartbeat. It was like, my God, man, these things are quick. And I thought, well, I don't get it. They can do whatever the heck they want to as long as they stay out of this bedroom, And there was two of them running around. I could tell that there was two different ones. And then all of a sudden, another one runs in. Now this is three. This one stops. It stops about 8 foot from me, right in the doorway. And this thing rears up. He's on all fours, and he rears up and stands on two back legs.
How low is your bed? Or how far? If they're 2 feet tall, and you're looking, and he's standing.
Yeah, I'm looking down at it. Yeah, the bed was maybe 3 feet tall.
Is it quite a big room?
It's not it's not that great big of a room, no. And I'm pretty close to the doorway. I'm probably 8 feet from where the doorway is in that bed. And this thing,
if it's approaching the bed, you won't be able to see.
My head was looking out of the bedroom into the living room right through the doorway. So my head was facing the right direction to be looking at what's going on in the living room. That's why I could see the cat standing in the doorway looking back towards the kitchen, because my head was laying that way anyway. And this thing, when it reared up, and this is the ugliest damn thing you ever seen. I mean, it had a humanoid looking face, but it had like an exoskeleton, like an armor on its body. And even on the armor itself, it had these little, looked like, like thorns sticking off of it. They had a bend to them. Like if you'd have grabbed this thing, it'd hurt your hand, because it had these things all over it, and it looked like a body armor, but that face in this thing looked kind of humanoid. It looked like it had big eyes, but they were squinted. Like the little bit of light in the room was hurting its eyes. Like it would have probably been more comfortable in total darkness, probably, because it was squinting. It looked like it was squinting really bad.
Anything like that, Ronnie? And
its eyes were much tighter. I mean, the eyes were probably bigger than that, but they were squinted real tight, and it had very tight lips on it. And it almost looked like your typical gray in the face, except for the body of this thing looked more, I don't know, like, and the arms on this thing were incredibly long, and it had some kind of weird looking hands. It almost looked like an insect hands or something like that. Maybe that's why it ran across the wall,
Yeah,
like some kind of a giant cockroach.
I did that from the last interview when I got to thinking.
Right.
I was trying to picture what this thing looked like. Have you drawn this thing before? I know you've drawn a few of you.
I've tried to, but I think we've had a drawing, but it was they made it a little more. I had an artist that kind of rendered it, but it was a little more masculine than it really was. This thing wasn't quite that masculine, but it moved like lightning, man. It moved like, and I've had somebody tell me that it probably from a planet that has incredible gravity, and so these things to this, to us, it's like zero gravity here. And
did you
the way this thing moves, like crazy fast.
You say this thing had longer arms than its actual legs?
Yeah, the arms look way too long, and it had some weird looking on. Then the hands on it look. It wasn't like human hands. It was like very long fingers that almost like, I don't know, more like maybe something on an insect than actually a mammal. I mean, it was weird. I didn't get a real good look at the hands on it, but I know they were really weird looking. And
when
they run, they drop down on all fours. They don't like run on their back two legs. They stand on all two and they drop down to four and they take off. And when they take off, it's like they just turn into a blur right in front of your eyes. I mean, I can see that thing as clear as day standing there. And when he left, I mean, he just turned into a blur. And I was thinking, don't come in here.
Was any was any vocal noise coming from these creatures?
I could hear. It seemed like I could hear just a little bit of shuffling whenever they were running, but I really never heard any kind of vocalization or any kind of a noise like that. You could hear like a shuffling sound when they were moving, just like something scratching together, it's hard to explain how fast these things were. It was amazing how fast they were, like lightning, man. I mean, they'd be all over you if you try to defend yourself against them. They could be on you and tearing your heart out in a second. And I was thinking, my God, just don't come in here. Do not come in here, please.
Was it like what we see in films with like vampires, how vampires move? They like really quite fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's slow enough that you could see the blur go by, but it was fast enough you couldn't see any aspect of the creature while it was moving. That's how fast it was. And this thing, and I was thinking, I was hoping that they didn't come in there, and this one stopped, and then he turned, and I could see the back of him, and he looked at the other two almost as if he was scolding them or something. It almost seemed like he was scolding them, because all of a sudden they stopped running around and they started searching through the stuff again. Both of them started pulling drawers out again. It was almost like he looked at them and he scolded them. They started doing more searching instead of running around. And I was thinking, man, just whatever you do, just don't come in here. And then all of a sudden, I seen that one standing right there in the doorway, and he turned, and then I seen just 3 streaks just come through the doorway right underneath the bed I'm under. So now, great, they're in there with me. They're under the bed, and the cat, he's under the bed. I mean, he's sitting right there with me, seeing all this. And then the next thing I know, the bed goes to bouncing up. They're picking that bed up and slamming it back down to the floor, and I'm on it, and I'm still paralyzed. I can't do a damn thing. I'm just sitting there and bouncing off this damn mattress, and the whole bed. They're picking the bed frame, the mattress, everything up. I was a big guy at that time. I was like, God, man, I had to be like 270 pounds.
And the cat stayed put.
No, as soon as that bed started bouncing, that cat took off out that door, and he was sliding. Last time I seen him, he was sliding around that door, getting the hell out of there. And I'm thinking, well, you just abandoned me. Thank you for abandoning me.
Did he hiss or anything?
No, I didn't see him. I didn't see him hiss. I think he was too scared to hiss, man. He was just staring, looking, and you could tell he was concerned. His ears were straight up, man. And then when that bed started bouncing, he took off, and I seen him slide. I didn't see anything go after him, but he shot out of that room like I wanted to. And that bed started bouncing, and they were picking it up, and they were slamming it back down the floor, and I'm bouncing off the mattress, and I'm sitting there, my God. And then the bed stopped bouncing. I hear they clawed up into the box springs of this thing, and you could hear, I could feel the scratching up underneath me, and I thought, man, they're going to claw up through that mattress. They're going to just tear my back out. And and they're just tearing something up in there. And they tore up in the box springs, and I could see later. I seen there was scratch marks on the wood up underneath there. And box springs of a mattress ain't really nothing but a wood box basically. And on the top of the box springs, it had some netting, some steel netting, like almost like fencing wire on the top of a box, and then it's got a piece of fabric over that is basically all the box springs is. And I could see scratch marks up underneath there where there was some deep scratch marks in the wood. They had grabbed the wire mesh that was on top of it, and they'd pulled it hard enough that they bent it. And this is pretty stout wire, it seemed like. And you can see where they had grabbed it and bent it. So they couldn't get to me through underneath if that's what they were trying to do. And then, I'm sitting there and I'm scared, therefore I was horrified for a while. And then I'm like, at some point you quit being scared and you start getting pissed off. And I was to the point where I was like, these if I don't get up and kill these suckers, they're going to kill me. It's me or them. And, I'm raging freaking mad, and I'm ready to kill me some damn aliens, but I'm paralyzed in this damn bed, and I can't do a damn thing about it. And I thought, it's me or them. So I thought I'm going to make one last attempt, get up out of this bed. And I had a plan in my head. I said, I had a golf bag over in that corner. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to grab an iron out of that damn thing. And I'm going to kill me some damn aliens if I can get loose. And I fought that force that was holding me down so hard. It felt like it stopped my breathing, and it damn near stopped my heart. I mean, it hurt like I thought I was just fixing to die right there. And I just relaxed back in the bed, and I thought, I'm completely screwed. There is absolutely nothing I can do, nothing I can absolutely do here. And so I just relaxed in the bed, and I thought, I'm done, I'm done. If they want to kill me, they're going to kill me, and there ain't nothing I can do about it. And all of a sudden, I heard them over at the gun cabinet. Now, I have this gun cabinet, and it's locked. And I'm thinking in my head, this thing is locked. You ain't going to get in there. Well, somehow or another, they managed to pick the lock, or they got into both sides of the cabinet. The bottom of the cabinet is where the rifles are kept. The bottom of the cabinet is where the bullets and the pistols are kept. They unlocked both of them. I didn't know it at the time. I was just thinking they're not going to get in there. It's locked. The gun cabinet is locked. But I do that's where the laser is being kept, in the bottom of that gun cabinet that I used the night previous. And all of a sudden they got over by the gun cabinet, and then all of a sudden everything went quiet. And I thought, hey, I didn't see them leave, but everything got quiet. And then all of a sudden, I guess what they had me pinned, and when they released me, my brain processed what I had tried to do earlier. It seemed like 5 minutes earlier, I had decided to jump out of that bed, grab that golf club, and kill these damn things. Well, when they released me, that got processed. My body jumped up out of that damn bed. I mean, I wasn't even trying to jump up out of the bed. All of a sudden, my body jumped up out of that bed. I grabbed that. I had that golf club in my hand so quick that I wouldn't even. It was like my body was like a robot acting on something I had told it to do 5 minutes earlier, and just my own actions was freaking me out. I was like, man, I tried to do that 5 minutes ago and I couldn't. Now I did it without even trying to. And so I'm standing here with the golf club, and I'm thinking, hell, it's time to go alien hunt, man. So I got that damn club, and I went all through that house. Every cabinet in that whole house was open. Every drawer in that house was open.
Robbing little bastards.
And yeah, I'd seen where they had broken the lamps. I'd seen where they knocked some dishes over and broken some stuff. And I searched all the dark corners of the house, and I didn't see any alien anywhere. And I thought, I went in there where the bathroom was at, where that tin was at, and that hard tin, that 30-year tin, is tough stuff, man. They had pulled the screws out of the wood. They had bent that tin, prying it up. And this is stout tin. I mean, you can't hardly bend it. And I mean, so whatever bent that tin up, it was bent up enough that I had to go I had to screw it back down again, and put my foot on it to bend it back down. So they had went there and pulled that tin up. And when I made it back to the gun cabinet, I thought, well, these guys, they're probably after I bet they're after that laser. And I went in there where the gun cabinet was at, and I seen the gun cabinet was unlocked. And then now I'm kind of pissed because I'm walking around this house hunting aliens with a damn golf club, and I got a perfectly good shotgun right there. But the reason I didn't go for the shotgun is because I would have had to go in the living room, hunt for the key, then come back and get the shotgun. And so I was like, damn, I had a shotgun right here, man. I'm walking around this house hunting aliens with a damn golf club. And so I'm thinking, you know what? They got the laser. They got the laser. And I got up underneath the bottom of that thing, and the laser was still there in the laser box. And I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe they looked at it, they studied it, or whatever they did, you know. But once they got to the point where the laser was being kept, the whole thing stopped. And then I ran at them. My people said, "Why didn't you call the police?" Hey, I wanted to call the police, and I thought, are the police going to believe this shit? What proof do I have that aliens have been in my house? You know, and I'm thinking, well, you know, if they take some fingerprints and stuff like that, then I realized they're not going to take any
Did you take
fingerprints or nothing
pictures
like
the
that.
next day of the uproar that they'd done to your house?
No, I didn't. I mean, I think on YouTube I made some pictures of the hole that was in the floor.
There's videos on your YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I did get some video of that, but and the next day, you know, I was like, I can't live in this house and with any kind of a peace. I called my buddy Alan that was up there, told him the whole story, and he believed me because he had seen the UFO. And I said, I got paid a little visit last night by our buddies. And I said, I think they come in from underneath the house. They went back underneath the house. And I said, I cannot live in this house and not know that these suckers ain't nested up under there, you know. I said, as scary as it is, I don't want to do it, but I got to go under there and look around. And I had a pistol in one hand and a flashlight in the other. And I crawled up underneath this damn thing. And I know if they would have been up underneath there, it would have been, I mean, they're so fast that I don't know if I could shoot them before they could get on me. So I had Alan stand outside the house and get ready to call 911 for help if I run into something up underneath there. But you have to understand, I had to do this because I can't live here and not know that, you know, that is nothing up underneath there.
So one thing, I mean, I want you to tell the story again, but you sent me a load of images, and there was one that you sent me. I was kind of like, I was a little bit confused about. And what's this? Okay,
this is one of the aliens that visited me. After this encounter, like I said, a year later, I had the big sighting in Coleman County where you've seen the big craft that we looked at and talked about earlier.
Yeah,
and that was in 2011, and this creature right here in August of 2017.
YouTube might take my channel down for this image. It's a little bit X-rated. Go on,
yeah, sorry, I mean that's the way she looked, you know. And Yvonne Smith is you know, the famous regression therapist. I had talked to her at Roswell, and she said, Ronnie, you know, this is important stuff. She said, take the time. I said, I ain't no artist, but she said, draw the best image that you can think of. You know, show us on paper what you saw. You know, you weren't able to get a picture of the two aliens that visited me in August 2017. She said, sketch it to the best of your ability. And this is one of the two aliens that visited me. So
this is after another alien visited you afterwards.
Yeah, this came later. This happened in August 2017. They made contact for the first time here at my house.
This is why I know you're not full of shit, because nobody would make up an alien like that.
No way. I mean, yeah, there's no way. I'm a truck driver. I don't have the kind of creativity to make something like this up, you know. And Yvonne Smith, she said, draw it to the best of your ability. You know, and I'm really glad I did, because the stripe markings on her, you know, I'd afraid I would have forgot exactly how they went and stuff, you know.
So how long ago was that? So this Thundercat like woman.
This is August 2017. They paid me a visit at my house for the first time. They actually made contact with me instead of just scaring the hell out of me.
So was it this delightful creature, and
there's another one there?
Is it this one?
Yeah, that's the other one there.
Is that female as well, or is that male?
Yeah, they're both females. And in fact, when they were here, yeah, they were wearing clothing, and they told me they wore the clothing because this is our clothing, basically, that became popular in their world. Their world has been affected because they've been watching us. They've been like watching our world, and they're watching us wear clothing.
Oh,
And she said,
so you think they're taking like our fashion chips?
"Oh yeah."
Tips.
She said they had they had ritualistic clothing that they wore at certain times to celebrate things, but generally they never wore clothing like not on a daily basis like we do. And anyway, she had these yoga pants on, and at one point she rubbed her hands on her thighs of those pants. She said yoga pants so soft, and I was like, my God, yeah, it's like
honestly, just you're gonna have to go back just a little.
And she said they're made out of the fabrics from their planet, not our planet. So they're not. Yeah, they've seen our designs and they made their own clothing, and they like them.
Start from the beginning. So,
okay,
this lady here and our other friend, this one, okay?
Yeah.
How did they come into your life?
Okay, it was I hadn't seen anything in man, it had been almost 2 years. I'd seen some UFO lights that had come on out in the middle of nowhere and kind of put on a light show for me, and I'd recorded some of them, and they're on my YouTube channel there. Mystery lights, Dawson Family Sees Mystery Lights, and I think the Santa Ana lights. That I've been recording these lights. They coming on like out in the middle of nowhere, 100 feet up in the air. It's almost like they come on, they give me a little light show, and they disappear. But there hadn't been anything fantastic like the UFO mothership flyover. It's some freaky, weird stuff, and I've caught some on camera. And and that's a great thing about my story is that not only do I got the story, I've got the proof to go along with it. So I've caught everything when I could.
How did them two come into your situation?
Okay, it was in August of 2017, and I was working nights, and I had come home and I'd went to bed. I think I'd got home about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I went to sleep. So when this actually happened, it was probably close to 9 o'clock in the morning. And the sun is up. It's morning time. It's not night. And my wife is up, and she's running around the house, and she's trying to be quiet because I normally sleep till about 11 when I'm working nights. And so I'm sitting there and I'm sleeping away. I came home from work. I'm tired. I'm sleeping like a baby, man. All of a sudden, I have this weird little mini dream where 2 females are grabbing me by the arm and pulling on me. And then I slip out of their grasp, and all of a sudden I just go right back to sleep. And I thought, I'm sleeping, but I'm thinking, that's odd. It's like, so I go back into a deep sleep again, or trying to go back to sleep. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, there's these 2 females who grabbed me one by one. They got me by the arm and they're pulling on me. It's like, and I'm like, and it feels like they're pulling me out of a manhole. And I open my eyes, and these two women have my arms, and they're pulling on me like I'm stuck in something, and they're trying to help me get it loose. And she's saying, help us. So I'm struggling to get loose, and they're pulling on me. And the next thing I know, they pull me loose, and they pull me loose from whatever's got me. And I'm standing there, and the first thing, and I'm talking about the blue one, she looked at me, she starts apologizing. She said, we're sorry for disturbing your rest. We're sorry for disturbing your rest.
The blue one, the one with the dodgy makeup. She's got like one bit of blusher. What is that?
She's actually got a big ruby glued to her cheek. Right there on her left cheek is a big, huge ruby. And this on top of her head is a diamond. It's like a diamond that's glued on her head. And then on the other cheek, there's like it looked to me like a flower tattoo or maybe a corn tattoo. It wasn't a real pretty tattoo, but it was right on her cheek.
So this woman with a big ruby on her face is pulling you out of bed at the minute.
Yeah, both of them are. Both the 2 aliens are both pulling on my arms, and they pull me. And what they did, they pulled my consciousness out of my body or my spirit or whatever you want to call it. But I didn't know at that time. I felt like they were pulling me out of a manhole or something. But when I got loose, this one started apologizing to me. She said, we're sorry for disturbing your rest. We're not from your world, and we needed to have a conversation with you. And I look, and I'm thinking, I'm looking at her, and she's got these huge eyes, man, and got this weird stuff on her face. And I'm like, okay. And, I'm kind of thinking, okay, my wife has got to be pranking me or something. I'm a UFO guy. Ha, ha. Everybody's going, she's going to prank me. So I'm thinking a couple of her friends, I know her friends, first of all, she wouldn't let them run around with me in my underwear in our bedroom anyway. I know her friends, and this is not none of her friends. And now seeing how big her eyes were, and I'm thinking, my God, I looked at the other one, and the other one, she looks like a woman, but she's got this right there where her nose is. It turns into like a lion's mouth, and on her top lip right there, she's got these whiskers, and it almost looks like porcupine quills. They're like whiskers that had been cut off, and these things are sticking out of the top of her lip, and those ears of hers, you can see them sticking through her hair. You can't see the ears itself, but you can see the tips of them, like cat's ears, sticking through her hair. But she had clothing on. She wasn't naked. Now that comes later. That's the odd aspect of the story that comes later. Now she's wearing, I kid you not, a white blouse and some like designer blue jeans, man. And they were telling me this is clothing that's popular on our planet, that we've seen here, and that people on our planet have fell in love with, and they're made from materials on our planet, and we wore them to make you feel more comfortable.
So she was fully clothed.
Right, she was fully clothed, except her hands and feet. Now, you wouldn't be able to put no shoes on those feet, and those. And so I'm sitting there and I'm having a conversation with these two, and I'm starting to realize, okay, this is no shit. Okay, this has got to be ET. I'm sitting here having a conversation with ET, and then she said, in this place, this is a place where the people from your world are going to meet the people of our world. You're safe from bacterial, viral harm and physical harm here. And she said, you can move through solid matter here. And and I looked and she said, you said your sleeping body's there in bed. And when she said that, I kind of freaked out, like, what? And I looked in bed, and there is somebody sleeping somebody sleeping where I sleep. And I'm like, okay, I'm right here, but who the hell is that? And I'm kind of like, all right. So I'm here in there, right? So, but I wanted to walk over and look at the face. It was a little bit dark in the room still, and I wanted to get a good look and see if that was really me sleeping in my bed. But I didn't realize I'm standing knee deep in my bed because my knees are buried in the bed. I didn't realize it. I tried to step forward to walk over to look at myself, and I fell forward. It's hard to explain. It's almost like you have very little mass here, but you do have a little bit. And when I tried to walk, I had some resistance on my knees, and I fell forward. I put my hand out to catch myself, and my hand landed on the sleeping body in the bed, which is apparently me. And I felt my hand land on the leg of the bed, the person in the bed, and then I could feel it. It's like I could feel the bone in the leg, and then all of a sudden, my hand went through the bone, and I could feel the mattress underneath it. And that freaked me out. I jerked back, and I was falling forward, and both these women grabbed me by the arm like I'm drunk, and they start walking me. I start wading out of the bed. So I start wading out of this bed, and now once I get out of the bed, I can move really freely. Whereas before, my legs were kind of restricted, was what caused me to fall. And she goes, look, here, she said, you can move to solid matter here. And that's why it's safe from physical, viral harm and stuff. And the people of your world and the people of our world are going to meet here. And she had me put my hand on this cat lady's face. And she said, just gently start pushing. And so I put my hand on the side of her face. I could feel her hair. I could feel her face. And when I started pushing, I could feel her skull. And she said, keep pushing. And you could see my hand disappear into her head. And once my hand got into where her brain was, man, it felt ooey, and it felt wet, and it felt mushy in there. And I jerked my hand back. I was like, man, that's gross, that's gross. And I looked, my hand was not wet at all, but it felt wet inside there. And I looked at my hand to see if it was bloody or anything. There's no blood. There's no wetness on it whatsoever. But it was like I could feel it. I could completely feel everything on her, but it wasn't wet at all. And so I'm sitting there, and at this time, I see my wife go walking through this bed. My wife goes right here in my bedroom. There's a bathroom. Is our bathroom, and she went from the kitchen, walked right through the bedroom. I'm standing here talking to two aliens, and I just see my wife, fully clothed, walk through the bedroom on her way to the bathroom. And she said, this is where we've been observing your world from. for quite a while now. And I thought, she said, see, she said you guys, she said, you can't see or hear us, but we can see and hear you from here. And we've been watching and observing and learning everything about you. And she said, wait, we said your nuclear testing sent light and radiation off our this off our planet, and when we investigated it, we found your planet. And she said it's very close to our home world, my home world. And she said, we found you guys. And he said, your nuclear testing is what give us a clue that you were here. And she said we've been watching you guys and learning about you. And she said, but first we're very concerned. She said they were in some kind of a war, and they had used some kind of interdimensional portal to attack them. And they were first concerned that we might be in alliance, or we might be in a staging area or something for some kind of attack that was they'd have been attacked before through the interdimensional gateway, and they thought that maybe we were a staging area and we might be in cahoots with the guys who had done it, that they had been at war with. And so these guys are, they've been at war, so they're watching us, and they don't know if we're part of that group or not. So they're kind of cautiously studying us, I guess you could say. And she said, we realize now that, she said the people that we were at war with, she said, it sounds very similar to your fallen angels that are described in your architecture, literature.
So this cat lady was fully clothed, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's fully clothed.
So what time does she decide to get her tits out?
Okay, that's a little bit further down. That's a little bit further down the story. And it's odd. I know it's odd as hell, and I didn't know it would go here. But this whole thing was freaky. But several years ago, I was at the Roswell UFO Festival, and I think I was talking to Stanton Freeman. I was showing Stanton Freeman my pictures and stuff, and I said, "Hey," I said, Stan, if I ever get the chance to talk to these people, what the heck should I ask them?
I've seen that picture of you and Stanton, and you showing him something on your Facebook thing. You showed Stanton this?
Yeah, no, not this. When I was talking to Stanton, this hadn't happened yet. But I asked Stanton, I said, if I ever get a chance to talk to these guys, what should I ask them? He said, ask them to show you how they got here. And I remember that, and I was like, and so I said, hey, can you show me how you got here? And she goes, yeah. Yeah, we can show you. She goes, we need a biological sample from you, if you don't mind. She said, she said you don't have to, but we really need it. It would help us. And I said, yeah, that'd be fine. And I said, she goes, we can show you how. And she said, in fact, we can show you where we came from. I'm going, okay. And I said, well, okay, how? Okay. And she said, just move through the wall. She said, you just walk through the wall right here. And I'm going, now. She goes, you can move through solid matter here. Just move through the wall, and you'll see where we came from. And I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm either going to see a UFO, or I'm going to see some kind of a dadgum, I don't know, tunnel or something. I don't know what I'm going to see on the other side of the wall. But right there where they wanted me to walk through the wall is a glass pit. There's a picture with a glass frame on it. And when I started pushing my face up against the glass, I was like, man, if that glass breaks, it's going to cut my face. I don't want my face cut, but it's glass. So I'm going really slow. And it seems like it's frustrating them. They're like, go ahead. It's fine. Go, just go. You're okay. You're okay. Go. And they're trying to help me, they're putting their hand on me saying, go, just go. You're fine. You're okay. And so I start going through this glass picture. I could feel the glass going through my nose. I could feel it moving through my brain, which it didn't hurt, but it's just an uncomfortable feeling. And then I started moving through the wall, and it's sheetrock. I could feel the sheetrock in my stomach, like the intestines in my stomach. They know what it feels like to be in my stomach, but when that sheetrock started going through them, man, it didn't hurt, but it was a very unnatural feeling. And so I started moving through the wall, and I realized, man, I can move through the wall. And then a stud inside the wall hit me on my right shoulder. And I could feel that it was harder to move through the stud. I had to put more force to get through the stud that was hitting me in my shoulder, but I could still move through it. So I'm moving through the wall, and then I noticed that everything is like black. So, I'm just like moving on through it. I'm thinking, well, let's just get through the wall so that I won't have my stomach won't have to feel all this stuff going through it. So and I know outside my wall, there's my outdoor. So I just gonna, so I went ahead and took a step forward, just trying to get out of the wall. Well, I took a step forward. Well, I think there was some misunderstanding. I think she intended for me to look through the wall. I don't think she intended for me to completely walk through the wall. Because when I took that big step, next thing I know, I'm in outer space, and I'm in outer space. I could see stars all in the sky. I'm in zero gravity, and I'm doing this slow forward flip. I'm looking up. There's this big planet off to my left. It's not as big as Earth, but I mean, there's like 3 major continents. There's some thin oceans, and on the north and south poles of the thing, you can see it's frosty, but it's not like snowpack. And you can see a big desert area and like a jungle area, and I could only see one big inland lake in it. And I could see around the equator area, there was like sandy beaches, but towards the northern and southern part, there was no sandy beaches. It looked like tall mountains that like drop, steeply into the ocean. So I'm taking all this in, going, my God! And in their sky, there's a galactic center. There's a black hole there, and you can see all these suns trapped in this thing close. I mean, there's so many stars in the sky that it can never be dark there like it's dark here at night. There's just the whole sky is illuminated with this black hole and these stars and suns that are trapped in its grasp. And it's very close and visible in their sky. And it's just full of planets and full of stars. And I seen this ugly rocky moon goes flying by between me and the planet. And I'm watching this thing. It's barely even round. It looks like that moon on Mars, sort of, it's just one big rock with some meteor craters and stuff on it go flying by it. And then I look, there's another moon over there. Thinking it was a sun at first, but then I started kind of thinking, okay, what I'm looking at is the dark side of the planet here. I can't even see the sun. The sun's on the other side of the planet. I can't even see it, but I can see the moon reflecting light, another moon, a second moon. And so I'm taking all this back in. So now I'm getting to the point where my head is going down. My head is down and my feet are up. I'm coming back and I'm looking at where I came from. Now I'm thinking, well, okay, now it's my chance to see exactly what the hell I walked out of, right? So as I'm coming back up head first, looking at this thing, it's a perfectly square black box sitting in outer space. There's no lights on it, no nothing. It's absolutely perfectly square. It looks like it's black crystal. And I'm sitting here looking at this thing as I'm coming up. My head's coming up. And I'm going, man, it's almost like my room. They had put this box over my room, and outside the box is here. I have no idea how it works or how they did it. But I do find it very familiar that there was a military jet off the coast of Florida here not long ago on his gun camera captured a black box flying by the jet. Did you ever see that video? It was one of the videos that the gun cameras caught. Yes. A black box flying by this jet,
So you've gone through the wall, because a few of the guys here are talking, and don't take this the wrong way, sleep paralysis or, lucid dreaming, or, I mean, sometimes when I'm dreaming, there might be something like that in there, and, it's quite a nice dream. But
I don't have dreams like this. I don't have these kind of vivid dreams to where I can recall the detail like I'm recalling here. And later, like I said, well, it's a little bit later on the story. I told her when it was time to go back, I said, I'm not going to remember none of this. I said, when it was time to go back in my body, I said, I'm not going to remember any of this. I'm afraid I'm not going to remember any of this. She said, look, this is not a sleep state. This is an alternate reality. And she said, you remember everything that happened here. And she said, when the people of your world meet the people of our world and have conversations with them, they will remember every aspect of it. This is completely different. This is not a sleep state. And that's what she told me. She said, you'll remember every aspect of it. I've never had a dream that I could recount the details of it, the whole thing like I have with this. And like I said, I went and got a stud finder. And on my YouTube video, you could see where I show you the picture I walked through. I run the stud finder over it, and you can see where the stud finder hit me in the right shoulder, just where it did. where I entered through the wall, and there was a stud in the wall that hit me in the right shoulder. And I show you the stud with the stud finder. And so, I mean, how would I know where the stud finder at? And then at one point I thought, oh, that picture doesn't have a glass on it. I had to be dreaming this. I went home, and the picture to the right of it has no glass. The picture to the left that I went through does have a glass. And I thought, wow, all right, it's the real deal. And
so at what point did she get a kit off?
Okay, so I'd been out there a little while, and I was actually felt like I was starting to get sick, man, from all the motion and things moving and the head flips, the head over feet thing, and zero gravity. But in here, I didn't need no air to breathe. I did not feel. I felt no cold of space, and it was like, well, you're not in your body. It's like this is whatever this state of being is. I never felt hot. I could feel softness. I could feel hardness, but I never felt hot. I never felt cold. I didn't need air to breathe because I was in outer space floating around, and I didn't freeze, and I was just observing everything. And finally they grabbed me. I felt they grabbed me by the shoulder, and I started flipping. Like if you're in zero gravity, somebody grabs you, man, you just start flipping like a daggum rag doll. And I started grabbing onto her hand because I was afraid that I would slip out of her grasp and go flying off into daggum space forever, So I was trying to help her hang on to my shoulder, and she pulled me back to the wall again. And I was happy to be back. I tell you, man, I'd seen all that I want to see. As amazing as it was, I was ready to get back, and I was ready to come back. And she pulled me back to the wall. And so here I was, so I was back in the room again. And, at one point, when my wife came walking out of the bathroom, she stopped, and she stopped and hesitated for a moment. And she looked over at us. Well, it freaked the cat woman alien out. And she said to the other one, she said, can she see us? Because my wife stopped, and she looked at us, looked our direction, and it freaked the ET out. She looked at the blue, and she said, can she see us? And she said, no. And she said, she's looking at him, and she pointed to my body sleeping in the bed. She said, she's looking at him. My wife paused for a second, and then she continued walking out of the room. And I asked my wife later, I said, when you came walking back out of the bathroom, I said, you paused and you looked at the bed. I said, what? I said, why do you do that? She said, because you have some sleep apnea. And she said, and it concerns me, and I'm afraid you're going to stop breathing. She said, so I'll stop. And as soon as I see your chest rise up and down, she said, I'll know you're all right. So she stopped. She seen that I was breathing okay. And then she continued on her way. I never knew that she did that. She had never told me she did it, but I got to see her do it firsthand, from this alternate reality. And after talking to her, she said, yeah, I do that. I do, And I seen the clothes that she was wearing. I mean, I could see the light coming in through the kitchen. I could see the light coming in around the curtains. Everything about my room looked exactly like my room looks. Okay, so I'm back in here. I'm back in the room now, right? And she goes, well, she said, you said you were willing to give us a biological sample. And I'm going, okay, all right. I'm thinking, okay, I don't know how they intend on getting this. It may not be pleasant. But hey, I'm talking to ET here, man. I'm willing to take one for the team, if I have to. If it depends on me taking one for the team so that we can be friends with the ET, hell, hell, I'll do it. Whatever, man. If they'll teach us how to fly around the stars, if we can take weekend trips around the moon and fly to Jupiter and check it out, hell, what's taking one for the team, okay, yeah, I'm willing, just tell me what you want me to do. And the blue one told me, she said, well, my friend here, she's a geneticist, and she said, if you'd be willing, you could just have sex with her, and I'm going, it just floored me. I'm like, okay, so you want me to have sex with this one? And I'm like, well, I get, yeah, okay, if that's what you need me to do, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of freaked out, I'm like, okay, yeah. And she said, well, I'll step out and give you two some privacy. So she moved through the wall, and so now it's just me and the cat woman standing there, and she looks at me and she said, she said, She said, I've been watching you and your wife. And she said, I want you to make me. She said, first, she said, do you think I'm as pretty as she is? And I said, yeah, well, yeah, you're pretty. What am I supposed to say, man? Oh, you got a cat's mouth, lady. No, but I'm saying, no, you're pretty. Uh, yeah, you're pretty. And she started undoing her. She had a white blouse. She started undoing this white blouse, and then when she took it off, I could see her. I could see everything you see there, the stripes, and she had the light fur on her. And then she jerked them jeans off real quick that she was wearing, and she jumped up on the bed, and she said, she said, I've been watching you and your wife, and she said, I want you to make me feel like she feels, and she assumed the sexual position that me and my wife use a lot. And I'm thinking, my God, there's no telling how many times they've been watching this, man. There's no secrets. They've seen every dadgum thing. Well, we hadn't done anything yet. Okay, she's up on the bed, and when she's talking to me, she keeps turning back and looking at me to the point it's freaky. She's got more movement, like they have more movement in her back than a human would have, and she can like twist around almost and look at me while she's like pointed away from me. And I almost wanted to say, man, I wish she'd quit doing that. It's creepy as hell. But she's like got this bend in her back. She's looking back at me, and here comes my wife walking through the room. Now, perfect timing, right? They're trying to get me to have sex this, and here comes my wife walking through the room. And I'm going, oh my God. I said, this is, I don't know if I can do this. And she said, look, it's all right. It's all right. She said, she cannot see or hear us. And my wife came walking out of the bathroom. She said, lady. And she yelled it. She said, is it okay if I have sex with your husband? And yelled it at her, and my wife just walked right by her. My wife would have slapped the hell out of her, if that would have been the case. And she said, then she looked at me, she said, it's not like you're physically cheating. She said, your physical body's laying right there in the bed. And I looked, and I thought, well, hell, she does make a point. I don't know what kind of cheating this would be, but I'm thinking, well, hell, I'm just doing it taking one for the team anyway, man. So I didn't even know. I checked her out to see like if she's even sexually compatible, and I thought, okay, well, she's got this big long tail, man, and this tail is like whipping like up and down, like it's like over like this back and forth, and I'm like, this is the freakiest damn thing I've ever seen, man. And I don't even know, and I just want to get it over with. People think, oh, this is a romantic interlude. No, this is no romantic interlude. This is like sex with the ET under the worst possible circumstances you could ever imagine. And this tail's whipping back and forth, and I'm like, okay, well, so I got up behind her, and the tail kind of came to rest around my neck, and I thought, well, that's kind of cool. And then it starts flicking under my nose, man. I'm going, oh shit. And I'm going, okay, this, I'm gonna have to do something with this damn thing. So I grabbed the tail, unwind it around my neck, and I pin it on her hip. It's like I pin this damn tail on her hip, and I'm like, just get this shit over with. So I did it just as fast as I could, just get it over with. I didn't know if I could even pull it off. Yeah, I managed to pull it off, and I think, my God, okay, I'm done, and she jumped, she reached down beside the bed, and she jumped up on the bed, and she when she got beside the bed, she had some kind of a yellow beaker looking thing. It looked like it was glass, but it had this yellow kind of a handle on it. It kind of reminded me like a syrup bottle that you see at like the older style restaurants. And it had these, and she stuck it underneath it, and she just spit the semen into this thing. And this light came on, and all these things lit up on it, and then she was showing the other alien. She goes, yeah, but she said the problem is, she said we'd rather work with raw material than here, because they have to do this, they have to synthesize this, and they have to do, man. She went on about the genetic modifications that they would have to do, and she was talking way over my head, man. But at certain times with her cat mouth, she was having trouble enunciating certain syllables, and it was almost to the point where it was freaking funny. But she was smart enough, like a person with like a speech impediment, she would find a word that she was having trouble with and not use it again. You could tell that she was kind of struggling to speak English, but she was talking with her mouth, and both of them were talking with their mouth. They weren't doing the telepathy thing. I seen her mouth moving. I could see the words coming out, and the cat woman was having trouble with certain syllables, and it was almost funny to hear her because she was talking so intelligently. It was kind of funny to hear her struggle trying to make certain syllables, but she stuck this thing underneath to spit it in there, and these lights went up and down, and then she went on to this 5-minute lecture about telling me how they would modify this, and they would do this, and she went on to say how I should be happy that that my seed would be used to. She said my children would see new worlds. It was like I was like, yeah, but this is children I'll never meet and worlds I'll never see. So
you like cats, and you may have a few kittens running around on her.
Well, I don't know. I don't have any. It gets even. You hadn't even heard the last chapter of the book that I just had to write. And I told him, I said, during this thing, I told him, I said, hey, I'll do whatever it takes to help you guys get to where we need to be, where you can meet where the people from your world and the people our world meet. I'll do whatever you need me to do. Now, I did say that during this meeting.
Is this book illustrated?
No. I think I had to go from PG to R, but
yeah. So you've been like conferences, and you discussed this at the conference?
This is going to be my first conference, and yes, I'm going to have to cover some parts of this, probably as clean as I possibly can, without it getting too dirty. But I mean, I can clean it up as much as I need to. I mean, it really happened, so I feel like I probably should talk about it, but I'm going to have to do it in a manner that's not offensive to people.
So, I mean, I've had some interviews in my time, but I don't think I've ever interviewed anybody that's slept with a cat lady.
Well, that's one. I've been with two actually now.
2 cats.
Yeah. There's a whole nother. Yeah, you haven't even heard.
Why don't go for a hat trick, mate?
I haven't gotten out of this. Yeah, like I said,
What is this here? You sent me these 2 images.
Okay, the sketch that you're looking there on the right is my drawing. Is my sketch of the 2017 visitor that was in my bedroom. Then I realized that in 2011, in the UFO sighting that I had in 2011. Of the small UFO craft that approached me, and the light came on inside a compartment under the UFO, and I had gotten some pictures of it. I realized that the creature that you're seeing look out of that porthole window at me and scaring the living hell out of me when I was taking the pictures is actually the same one that was in my bedroom in 2017. So the pictures were taken 10 years earlier than this visitation.
Okay.
It was 2011. No, it was 6 years earlier. 6 years earlier. In 2011, I took these 3 pictures on the left. And this is the creature that came in and visited me in August 2017. So it was like 6 years later as the same creature.
Is this you when you're going out through the wall?
Yeah. When I walked through the wall and fell into outer space and was looking at their galaxy from outer space, that's what I saw. That's the ugly little rocky moon that you see in the middle of the planet passing by. That's the black hole, what the black hole looked like from where my view was. And you can see the black box there that I apparently walked out of when I fell into this place.
What a trip.
Yeah, it's quite a trip, man. I wish everybody could take it, and they may get to do it at some point.
So there's another image that you sent me. And it's this one here, and this had me kind of like you've got this where you're saying that a skeptic asked you.
Yeah, that's a sketch. Yeah, these are zoomed in pictures on top of the mothership. Like I said, as software has gotten better, I've been able to find better clarity of the images, and I was on to this thing for several years before I actually got a clear enough picture to come forth and tell people about it. I think the pictures aren't great, but they're very clear enough that you can see that on top of the surface of that mothership that flew over me that I've got the 15-second video of. You can zoom in on the still frames. You can add a little light to it, and this is what's hiding in the background of it. This thing has got to be, the picture's from a mile away. at night of a moving object. So it's not going to be that great, but it is great enough that you can see that there's a huge creature towering above the surface of this craft. And this thing, it looks like a praying mantis, except for the arms come out of the back, and the arms are way longer than a praying mantis's arms are. I showed this thing to a zoologist, and he said, I know every creature on the planet, and I've never seen this thing. He said, "Where'd you get that?" I said,
Showing
"On the
it,
surface
Steve.
of a UFO."
Stephen might
So,
like that.
so he didn't want to talk to me much after that. So,
You should show it to Mr. Greer. He would probably like that. He's taken a picture very similar to that, where he showed an alien that was in the crowd when he did one of his things.
oh yeah,
But
yeah. I mean,
you
I
should
think
send it.
you know, if any of this was faked, I'd have been called out years ago. I've had debunkers from all over the world, and I have given them the original footage, and I've done whatever they asked. The American Skeptic Society wanted my pictures at one point to try to debunk it. You know, so I've worked with debunkers. If you want to debunk it, here, I've given it to them, and ain't nobody been able to say, "Oh, you faked it by doing this." I've had some people make some outlandish, stupid claims, but ain't none of them hold weight. In fact, most of the people that have actually looked at the photos have said, "My God, you know, whatever this is, I can't imagine it." You know,
you can't debunk a photo from 2011 when you give them that photo, because there's no way anybody could tell what that is. For all I know, it could be a piece of toast. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could look at the bottom of that picture. It's got the latitude, it's got the longitude, it's got the time, and you can go to the sky map, and you can find the stars in the UFO footage yourself. I mean, you don't have to rely on my information. You can get your own information. Everything that you need to debunk that picture is at the bottom of it. All the details: latitude, longitude, time, location. Everything you need to debunk it is right there, because a video will show you a star field in the background. Now, if you take a picture at night, you're probably not going to see any stars in the background. But luckily, the video happened to be. I thought I was actually taking a picture of the thing, but my phone was actually still on video, and so my video recorded 15 minutes, and after that, I'm sorry, 15 seconds. After that 15 seconds, my memory was full. And I had another UFO sighting after that, and I had no way to take any kind of a picture of it. But I seen 3 UFO, 3 different ones within about an hour and a half period there on that same night, man. On that big ship that flew over me, I filed a FFA report, a low craft report. That's a felony to file that kind of report. And I knew what I seen was authentic. Why would I put myself at risk of having a felony charge?
Listen, Ronnie, I definitely would not. I don't think you're a liar or anything like that. I think, if anything, from my experience with talking to different people like yourself, I think some people possibly do. I don't know, go into this, whether you see it or not in the physical flesh, or whether you get these weird fucking dreams sent to you. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's something very weird is going on. I mean, I've had some crazy dreams that I thought, you know what, that was just too real to be a dream. I've never had sex with a cat in my dreams. But
well, I never had either. I never had either, you know.
So you said since this last interview, some weird stuff's gone on. Yeah,
it's in 2020, in February of 2020, right? Well, I didn't know. I don't know if they're done with me. If they, it'd been like, but I know whenever she had taken that sperm in that bottle, the 2 ET were talking, and she said, "Save enough for the such and such clone project." And I'm going, "Oh, I heard her say clone," and I'm like, "Okay, clone. I know what clone is. She's gonna see some worlds with some of it. She's gonna save some for a clone. So apparently they're planning on cloning me." And at one point I told her, I said, "Man, there's way better genetic samples out here than me, man. I mean, all my family has to offer to the genetic society is we had bad teeth, bad toes, and a propensity for violence. We got nothing to add. Why?" And she goes, no. She said, and she told me, she said, we need genetic samples from everyone at the stage we're at now. She said, we're going to need large amounts of genetic samples from the multitudes of people. And she said, we're wanting to know if we make open contact with your world, do you feel like the people of your world would be willing to donate genetic samples to us? And I said, yeah, I think they would. I said, you know, if you make open contact with the people and the people want to be friends, and I said, yeah, you'd be surprised. People will just give you genetic samples. You don't have to abduct nobody. We'd donate it happily, you know. And then she asked me. She said, well, you know, how do you think we should go about disclosing to the people of your world that we exist, that we've been watching you, that the people of our world want to meet, the people of our world want to be friends, you know? She said, what would you suggest? And I said, well, I pointed at the guy in the bed, me, and I said, look, I said, nobody's going to believe anything that he says. I said, people on this planet, they're not going to believe this. I said, there's still people on this planet that don't believe that there are any other intelligent civilizations in the whole universe. And she looked at me with them big blue eyes, like, surely nobody could be that stupid, right? She just gave me this weird look, and I said, people like would believe that, you know? And I'm like,
is that this one or
no, the other one, yeah. And she looked at me with those eyes, like, surely no one's that stupid. And I said, the people's not going to believe me when I tell them this. I said, you're going to have to give that guy in the bed, I said, some alien technology made from material not of this planet, before anyone's going to believe that I've even having a conversation with you guys. And she goes, oh, okay. And I said, and then I started thinking, you know what? Well, the government would just probably take it and throw me in jail or do something. I said, okay. I said, let me change it. I said, what you should do, I said, we need a worldwide global display of alien presence. I said, that's what we need. I said, we need a wake-up call that you're here, that we're not the only ones in the whole universe. I said, that's what we need, a worldwide global display of alien presence. And she said, okay, well, thank you. She said, I will tell the others what you said. You know, I said, I think that's where you need to go.
So this is what's just happened recently?
No, this happened back in 2017. I haven't talked about what happened. We hadn't even got to 2020 yet.
Yeah, give us the 2020 because we're on a schedule.
Well, let me tell you first about how it was time. She said it's time for us to leave and time for you to go back. So I'm looking at my body sleeping in this bed, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I get back? She said, just lay on yourself, you know, like. And so I got over and I laid right on top of myself, and I just lay there, and nothing happened. And I looked at her and I said, I was thinking in my head, I was like, you know, you guys ain't really good at this because this ain't working, you know. Now I'm starting to think, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get back. You know, maybe I'm like, I don't know, maybe my body went into a coma and I can't get back or something. I don't know. And she said, well, okay, get back up. So I stood back up beside her. She said, now leap on yourself. Okay. So I leaped onto myself, and this time it felt like I fell 10 feet, man. I mean, my stomach just flipped, man. It was like I got sucked in. It just, and as soon as I hit, I woke up in bed. I mean, I woke up and I looked. I was in bed and I looked, and there was no ET standing beside my bed. And I had a feeling they were still there, that I was in my body now and just couldn't see them. In fact, I even waved at them. And I thought, yeah, you know, and I looked, and the room looked exactly the same. The lights coming in around the windows was the same. The lights coming in from the bathroom was the same. I see my wife. She's wearing the same clothes I'd seen her wearing just earlier when she walked through the bedroom twice, wearing the same clothes, you know. And so I didn't know. I was kind of curious, as you know, they said something about a clone. I'm going, okay, apparently they're going to clone me. Then I started I checked on the internet, and well, you know, there's also another thing that the geneticist at one point, she told me, she said, you guys use a double helix model. And she said, you're very close to being able to cure most of your diseases. She said, you're going to have a real problem with population, with your population control. And she said, you use a double helix. You should tell somebody that they need to use a triple helix. We use a triple helix model instead of a double helix. Now, I don't know what the heck she's talking about.
Well, maybe you should speak.
I remember her saying it. I had to get on Google and research what is a double helix. What is that? I'm a truck driver with a high school education. I don't. And it's apparently it's a DNA model. It's a DNA model that we use. It's a double helix, a spiral staircase DNA model. And
Oh
she,
yeah,
she yeah,
yeah.
right. And she said that we should use a triple helix and we'd be able to cure most of our diseases, but then we'd have a huge population control problem. And so I'm trying to tell that to people that it might matter to. And I've actually seen where some people they're using like a triple helix model on certain things, and so it's like we're headed that direction, you know. So it's like, you know, I just want to get that out there in case it does do somebody some good. I don't have a clue what it means, but
So 2020, it has been an odd year for everybody. But
yes,
you said you've had some goings on, some going ons.
yeah, it was it was, you know, it was in February. In February, it was an odd deal. I mean, I was sitting, I was just went to bed. I'm sleeping. You know, I haven't been having dreams or anything like that. I mean, I was just so tired when I go to bed. I just sleep all night, you know. And anyway, I go to bed with my wife. We're in bed sleeping away, and next thing I know, it's somebody's pulling. It felt like I was laying on the floor, and they pulled me up out of a tube, and I'm drunk as hell. And it's like I'm in a surgery room. I stumble up against like an operating table. I walk over and I stumble into this some kind of a like a machine in this surgery room, and this big I could tell that this guy was an alien. It was like a doctor wearing some kind of a surgical suit. I mean, everything was covered, hands, face, everything except for his eyes. I could tell by the size of his eyes that he wasn't human. And he said, I remember him saying, you know, you got to get him out of here. You know, he said he can't be in here until he gets oriented. Get him out. And so they're escorting me out of this surgery room. Well, they take me out of the surgery room. I know I have to walk through this. There's a hazy wall there in this surgery room, and I walk through this thing. And when I go through it, I feel this blast of air go by my face. It's like the pressure on one side is different than the pressure on the other side. And they walk me through this thing, and they said, "Hurry up, get through here because we're losing our sterile environment." And they walk me out, and this is like a surgical tent. They walking me out of a surgical tent, and there's like two guys escort me, big. They're like hefty young guys, man. And there's this like doctor. There's another doctor that's kind of with them, and they escort me out. And I know I'm having hell walking because it's like my legs malfunctioning. My legs are like seizing up, and my arms are like seasoning up. And at one point, I'm like trying to move my arm, and it got glitches. And when it finally comes, it slaps myself in the face, and I'm disoriented as hell. And then finally, my vision starts straightening up, but my body is still not working right. And I'm looking around. They walk me out of a surgical tent, and I don't know where the hell this is at, but you can see these white houses, and there's these green grassy fields, and these white houses have white picket fences around them, and they have manicured lawns, and everything is nice and neat and freshly painted, and there's like a valley with these houses in it. There's roads running in between these houses, and I'm looking around seeing all this, but every time they let go of me, I try to walk, and I end up falling to the ground hard, and I fell to the ground hard, and it hurt. When I hit it, hurt. And so they rush over and they pick me up again. And then I try to stand up again. And all of a sudden I lose my balance. I fall down again. And finally the doctor alien, she's like, okay, just stay there. She said, your nerve endings have to like realign, you know. She said, you'll be fine. She said, just hold still for a few minutes until everything starts working. And I just sat there on the ground, and I noticed my fingers and stuff. Finally, everything started working all right, you know. And I started feeling all right. I said, okay. I said, I think I can stand now. And so these two stout guys, they held me up, and there's this alien doctor, you know, here. I'm thinking it's the same cat woman. It just kind of looks like her, but she's wearing this surgical suit.
Does she have the same sort of figure? Would you say?
No, all you could see is her eyes. the surgical suits they're wearing, it was almost like a one-piece suit that's like vacuum to them, like suction to them. It's very wrinkly. You know, it's almost like they pull a suction on it, it just sucks to your skin and stuff, and it's over her, and all you can see is her eyes. All you could see any of those the doctors and surgical people that were in that surgery room, all you could see was her eyes, but you could tell by the size of their eyes that they weren't human. But these two young guys that were like that were escorting me out and helping me get up and stuff. Now these guys look human, except for their skin was very white and they look almost too genetically perfect. And I'm sitting there looking at them and I'm thinking, you know, I bet these guys they're either clones or they're maybe even androids or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, the doctor's sitting there and finally this you wouldn't believe this guy. There's a guy comes walking up and this guy's got a straw hat. He's got a straw hat on and he is not an attractive man. I mean, and he's wearing he looks like somebody on vacation, you know. He doesn't look like, he's not alien. He's not like an android looking guy like these other guys. This guy looks like he's straight, like kind of describe what he looked like. He looked like you seen the Louisiana guy that on the movie Waterboy, you know, that spoke to Cage. You couldn't really understand what he was saying, you know. Not an attractive guy. That's who this guy was, you know. That's what the guy looked like, you know.
So he's in this like surgical room with a straw hat.
No, I'm out of the outside the surgical tent now. I'm standing outside and I'm looking around at these houses and rolling hills and grass and white picket fences and streets. These streets look like a car had never been on them, but it was almost like a model city, perhaps like a 50s town or something like that had been constructed or something. And why these as you know, as technologically advanced as these ET are, why they're working out of it looked like a surgical tent to me is, you know, that's just a complete mystery. Some of the machines and stuff I seen in there was very odd looking, like I've never seen anywhere around here. But anyway, so this guy comes walking up and I'm looking at this guy and she goes, here, meet Ronny Dawson. And the guy says, yeah, I'm familiar with Ronny Dawson. She said, no. She said, I mean, the real Ronny Dawson from back there. And then the guy's whole attitude changes, like, oh, you mean from back there? And he's like shaking my hand, like, oh, first trip, good to see you, you know. And I'm like, who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? And he said, Jonathan. I think he said his last name was Bools or something like that. And I'm like, man, why couldn't you be, you know, Jones or Smith or something I could actually spell, you know? And he said he's from South Africa, and he's from South Africa, and I'm like, you know, he looks like he's on vacation or some kind of crap, man. I don't know where, you know. So here's another Earthling here, and I said, he said, I guess you figured out this ain't Earth, and I said, well, I said, I don't know where we're at. He said, I don't either. He said, but your first clue this ain't Earth. He said, look at that sun, and he pointed like that up, and I looked at that sun. It was much bigger than our sun, but it was so dim you can almost look at it. You know how you look at our sun and it burns your eyes right away. Now this sun, you could look at it for almost a couple of seconds before it started hurting your eyes. And it was much bigger in the sky than our sun. And I'm going, man, that is odd. He said, yeah, this ain't Earth and that's not our sun. And he said, I don't know exactly where we're at. And he goes, but this ain't Earth. And I said, yeah, I agree. And I said, well, what are you doing here? I said, here's another Earthling, man, you know, like, it's good to see him in this environment, but what the heck are you doing here? And he said, well, I'm the second one to get the penile augmentation. I said, the penile augmentation? A penile sounds like he's talking about something about you're going to do something to your penis, right? I'm like, penile augmentation. He goes, yeah, you were the first. and I thought, oh shit. And I was wearing these stretchy shorts, and they had these tube socks. Now, I ain't wore a pair of tube socks since, my God, 1970. This body had I was starting to kind of put two and two that this has got to be the clone. This is probably not me. This is the clone. They pulled my consciousness out of my body back here on Earth, and they put it into a clone. It took them 2.5 years to grow a clone to adulthood. And when I kind of researched that, that is like the going. They say it takes about the AT 2 years. I've seen that on the internet. I don't know if it was true, but 2.5 years later, boom, here I am inside the daggum thing. They put my consciousness into this clone body, and Jonathan guy is talking about a penile augmentation, and I was the first, and he's second in line or something like that. Well, I run my hand off down in my shorts. Man, it felt like a big old wet noodle in there, man, where my penis used to be. I pulled out a handful of it, and I'm looking at it like, my freaking God, man. And I was like, oh crap, man. And so I kind of shoved it off back in them shorts, and I was like, man, and then here come the lady doctor back out. You don't
think this was a dream? No.
No, yeah, no. I mean, who could dream this shit? And so the same doctor came walking back out that was talking to me while I was laying on the ground rolling around, and she said, our last meeting, Ronnie, she said, you were willing to help us to do whatever it took for our people to meet and go forth, right? And I said, yeah, I said that. She said, did you mean it? I said, yeah, I did. I'll whatever it takes to help you, I'll do it. She said, well, she said, as you can see, we had this is the clone we put the penile augmentation on so it can better interact with the female, the cat females. Yeah. I don't remember how she said it exactly. Like I said, I talk Texan. I can't tell you exactly how they said it, but she said we augmented the penis on the clone so it could better interact with the females. And she said, "What? And we're needing to do a function test." And she said, "We have a young female, and she's going through the estrous cycle, and it would help shorten her cycle and give her some relief. And we need to do the function test. So and I'm like, okay, so you want me to have sex?" She said, "Yes, we want you to have sex with this young female that's in the tent here, and they're waiting." It's like, okay. So anyway, and she said, "You want to drop your shorts?" She said, "Because it's going to be painful if you don't." So I pulled down those stretchy shorts, and I kind of felt weird because Jonathan guy, he's still sitting there looking on, right?
I get the gist of this, where this is going, Ronnie.
Yeah, I kind of got the gist of it too. But anyway, this noodle's hanging down. I mean, it's just, man. And she pulls out this little ball of stuff, and she squirts it up under my nose, and it kind of smelled like a cross between sunflower and cat piss, really. I mean, it smelled like a cat pissed on a sunflower. That's kind of what I thought. But anyway, she sprayed that under my nose, and my God, that thing started getting long. And it stood right. I thought it was going to hit me in the chin. And I said, good God. I said, that thing's got to be 2 foot long. Well, that Jonathan guy, man, it almost acted like it offended him. I mean, he's like, no. He said, no, they said 17 inches. He said, it's supposed to be 17 inches. And I said, all right, John, I concur. When I looked at it, I'm like, if it ain't 17 inches, it's very damn close. I was just vaguely I said the 2 feet was just, I just rambled that. And I said, yeah, I concur, Jonathan. It does look like it's 17 inches, And so she said, they're waiting on us.
I am glad you're talking in code on YouTube. But we are running out of time. But to cut a long story short, is there more kittens?
Yeah, I basically had to go in there and have sex with this thing in a surgical environment, and the doctor basically told me, he said, whenever you ejaculate, he said, make sure you stay at full penetration until you're completely finished. And anyway, after that, they led me back out of the tent, and they brought, I think they did a hysterectomy on that young female, and they brought it out in the guts in a bag, and they wanted me to slide it on that. They got it hard again. They wanted me to slide the gut on it and see if the tip of it would reach this hole that was in this I guess it was her vaginal canal or whatever the hell they had removed from her. And so I had to slide it on there again to see if it would reach where they wanted it to reach.
So,
And she said, thank you. She said,
so,
thank you for
so
helping us. And she said, it's time to go back. And then boom, I was back. I mean, I woke up in the bed. I was rested like I'd never been rested before. I mean, it was, I guess when your consciousness is out of your body sleeps great, because I woke up and felt great. Like I was more rested than I'd been in years.
So there's a book, yeah? There is a book that covers...
Yeah, I've had it's a Ronny Dawson UFO story. I think it's $4.99 on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can get it at Walmart. And yep. I added this last chapter just here within the last 2 weeks. I added the last chapter to it because it's an ebook, and as things happen, I keep adding to it. So I just put this last chapter in there.
So that's on Amazon, yeah. So send me the link. I'll put it in the description. I think out of curiosity.
Like I said, I've been invited to speak at the Laughlin, Nevada UFO Mega Conference, and it's going to be in May, I think 23rd through the 29th or something like that. So that's going to be my first UFO conference to get to speak at. So I'm going to have to tell this story in front of maybe as many as 2,000 people if that many show up.
You'll have to film that. I'd like to see that. Get it on your channel.
Yeah,
that'd be great. So I mean, there's a good comment here that I've pinned up. It says, "Ask you for proof," but I don't know how I'm going to get the proof.
Well, that's the thing. The word estrus is not even in my vocabulary. I have never used that word. Did not know what that word was. I remember the ET saying that word. I had to go look, and I had to go get on Google and look up what the word estrus means. And estrus is it's the cycle of cat. In Texas, we call it when the cat goes in heat. And it does. And I did read up on it. It says when a cat in heat has sex, it shortens the cycle. And just like the ET was talking about there. And I'm like, the estrus is not even a word in my vocabulary. So if it was a dream, why would I dream words that are not even in my vocabulary? Yeah.
Well, you know what, Ronny, you've been a very interesting guest tonight, and my laughter's more curiosity.
I know it's hilarious. It's I know it's funny, but it's hard to bite. It's hard to believe too. But apparently, me and the ET are working on whatever it takes to get our people and their people together. And if I take one for the team, I have taken one for the team. I may continue to take one for the team, but if that's what it takes for us to fly around moons and see other galaxies and live in places that we can't get to now, hell, what's taking one for the team?
So what's the plan going forward, Ronny?
Like I said, they don't give me a schedule, and whenever I do, when they have something going on, they're very agenda focused. They don't have time. They don't want to sit around asking a bunch of stupid questions that Ronny has. They pretty much give me directions on what they need done, and I'm willing to do it and let them know that, man, we're worth our whole civilization is worth meeting and getting to know. So if we could be helpful and we could be friendly, it's going to move this thing forward, I think. Well,
Ronny Dawson, thank you so much for coming on Alien Addict, and I wish you all the best with your channel, with your book, with your conference that you're going to with 2,000 and odd people. Choose your words carefully when you're up on stage with them talking about
I know it's hard. It's hard for a guy like me. I'm an orphan worker, man, so I have to watch my P's and Q's.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on Alien Addict, Ronny. And
it's been fun. I enjoyed it.
Yes, it's been good to have you on again, and I've enjoyed it myself. But I'm going to say good night, God bless to you, and I'm going to go back to the channel for a minute to say good night to these guys. And yeah, thank you, my friend.
All right, thank you, guys.
Good night. Ronny Dawson, ladies and gents, and boys and girls, thank you so much for sticking with me this year. And I know sometimes you don't quite know where the story's going to go with the guest, or you don't know. I honestly didn't expect that when I just got the images sent, and I just thought, this, I didn't know that was going to go there. I don't know if I'd have asked that question if I knew that was going to go there, mainly because of YouTube. But yeah, interesting guessing. You know what, mate, lucid dreams and stuff like that. I've had some really weird shit going on, but to have these dreams going on all the time, maybe there's something in it. Maybe the world, maybe other worlds does have, people that look like the female version of Lino from Thundercats. But I don't know if anybody remember that Thundercats. If you're from the 80s, you'll remember what a cartoon that was. But yeah, people, thank you so much for sticking with me this year, for all the support you've done. I know I've only just started to go live. I'm still learning it. My lighting's shit. My room is shit. I need to get my studio sorted at some point. But it means a lot. It means a lot. And I want to say a massive thank you to all the patrons as well. Guys, you guys fucking rock. You really do. Patreon link in the description. That's a hint. And also, if you have a story, send me an email. If I like the story, I'd like to get you on the show. Who am I to judge by a story that somebody sends me in an email? I'll interview you anyway. It might make good entertainment. I mean, sometimes, I'm going to get that person on that has these fucking an amazing story, like the Davids of this world, the Johns of this world. There's been quite a few people that I've had on the channel this year that I've just been like, what, this guy is telling the truth. I need to get more females on the channel as well. So if I know I've had Dolly on, but I've only had one lady on the channel. I need to make it a bit more diverse. Maybe get some cat ladies on the channel. I'd like to get that cat lady on the channel. But yeah, folks, thank you so much. It means the world. You've stuck around. For people that have been subscribed for years, that have seen me through my old debunking days. Maybe I'll go back to that in some smaller videos once a week, now and again. I'm doing the live stuff because I'm kind of missing doing the edited stuff. I'm missing editing it. I'm not editing it. I'm just kind of like, I've got a few panels to play about with, like Christmas Greer there, that I wish I'd put him at the side, but I haven't. And I've got a pigeon. Don't know why I've got a pigeon, but I really did. I just liked that pigeon. I just thought it was a great pigeon. It's like when you look at that pigeon, it's mesmerizing. And of course, we got Blake. I love Blake, especially Homer Blake. I might ask Blake if I've got permission to print that on a t-shirt. I'll put Third Phase of Moon on underneath it. I wonder if Gray would let me put that on a t-shirt. I'd probably get done by The Simpsons though. But yeah, anyway, people. Good night, I'm going to say good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. If you have a guest though that you want to come on, like David, he got me to email Ray Hernandez, and I emailed him. It was going to be the 4th of March, but I managed to get him on last week. I have actually emailed yesterday Tom DeLong, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to ask him to flat out to come on the channel. He's probably going to say no or just ignore it. But if we spam him a little bit, just say, come on, Tom, get yourself an alien addict. We want to know what's going on with TTSA. But yeah, if you got a story, people, email it over to. In fact, I'm going to put the email up for you on the screen now, so anybody that's watching, that's carried on watching this for this long, will. There you go. Will email me that. If you email that with your story, try not to keep it too long. you know, give me a nice little treat. Not too long because I'm dyslexic. Maybe break it up a bit, put big capital letters. Give me a story. I'm not bothered if you've just seen a UFO. I kind of like, there's not much I can do with that. I can't do much with, I've seen a UFO and I want to come and discuss it. If you've seen UFOs all your life, you've been on board a UFO. You know, you've seen a Catwoman that started off in jeans and a t-shirt and eventually took a whole kit off. It's an interesting story. But yeah, whatever. Ghost stories, the paranormal, shadow figures, you name it, I'm into it. I'm going to keep the channel's name as Alien Addict, but it's kind of like anything addict. Just wait, I'm a strange channel. And it always will be a strange channel. With this strange host, I kind of made my mind up what this channel's about. It is an odd channel. I do know that, people. But I hope you find it entertaining. Anyway, Merry Christmas, people, for Christmas that's just gone. And here's to an amazing 2021. Or at least a 2021 that's like 1% better than 2020. Mind the bugs don't bite. Love you guys.